You don't understand. I don't need gold because I am gold.
Oh, and Eli Drake with a cheap shot to Moose.
Great sucker punch.
Yo, what is up, HeelCast Nation? It's that time for another episode of the HeelCast.
It's a celebration tonight.
This week, I am joined by some two crazy mofos. We got Kyle in the house. How you doing, Kyle?
Feels good to be back here on the ImpactAsylum.net world-famous HeelCast. And if you're sitting here listening, clearly you don't have too many other things to do with your time. So thanks for hanging out.
Also joining us this week, returning from the S&M podcast, the king of interviews, Larkin. How you doing?
I'm all right, Hurls. What's up, Kyle? What's up, Pearls? Happy to be back.
It's good to have you back, both of you guys. It's been a while since we've done a show. But first things first, want to give some shout-outs to some different podcasts we got. Want to give a shout-out to Petey Williams and the Wrestling Perspective. Like I said, it was great to have him on the HeelCast for a long, long interview. Want to give a shout-out to Wrestling Robert. Robert does wrestling.
Impact.
Check him out on the good old tube of the U.
Impact.
Want to give a shout-out to S&M as well. Larkin, you want to talk about your show a little bit?
S&M.
A lot of great stuff coming. Just had interviews not too long ago. I really got a lot of great stuff coming. Had some interviews with Paige Turner, indie talent, great athlete. I just got a lot coming, man. Just stay tuned. That was the latest one. Just S&M Show Podcast Network, MC Larkin 92 on the SoundCloud. Check it out.
You do got a lot coming, my friend.
I do, yes. Thank you.
Yep. Anyways, I want to give a shout out to, since we got him on, I want to give a shout out to the Heads Network. Heads Network doing some big things right now. Why don't you talk about that, Kyle?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you, my good pal, Hurls. You guys can follow me at the Heads Network, HeadZNetwork. Follow me on Twitter. We've been putting out the weekly Impact reviews. We had a really good one last week with Trent Zuberi from AAW, and he has a metal band called Hemi. He's totally just a kick-ass dude, very smart, a lot of good. Anyone who's ever listened to us, it's usually me and Chef just spewing a whole bunch of nonsense and ignorance, just total New Yorker shit talk. But now we got Trent in the mix, and he totally balances everything out. You actually want to listen to our show for once. Very good. And, Trent, since he's working with AAW, he's met a lot of Impact talent and worked with them behind the scenes backstage, so he just has such a good insight. So check us out on the Heads Network. Primarily, I like to focus on the Twitter, so please follow us on Twitter. And, next week we're going to be having Bram on the show. Now, I know that I promised a Bram interview in the past and it never happened, but just to clear it up, in case anybody was ever wondering, hey, how come that never came out? We did an interview with Bram a few months ago, and it was while... we got a dog barking? Is that Big Dog? Is that Big Dog? No, we did the interview with Bram, and he was going through a lot at the time, and the show, it was awesome. It was really good, but it got a little too wild, and there was a few jokes cracked in there that when it was all said and done, we all kind of agreed, we probably shouldn't put that out. And this time around, Bram has been through a lot, but he's doing a lot better. He's in a much better place than when me and Chef talked to him a few months ago. I can tell you that. It's going to be a really good interview, so please stay in tune and check out the Heads Network.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm doing some things on the Heads Network as well. my very, very own Lucha Underground show. I'm going to be starting from the very beginning. Going to be doing every single episode. So some episodes I'm going to be alone. Some episodes I'm going to be joined by Larkin.
Yes, sir.
That's right. Yep, me and you are going to be doing some Lucha Underground reviews. Hope to have the first episode up by tomorrow night before the debut of season 4. So look for that.
And don't forget about Uncle Hurls' Freaky Fantastic Fridays. We're going to be doing the Hurls porn reviews, sponsored by Jergens. Hurls is going to run through all of his favorite pornos. So I can't wait. Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah. I honestly can't wait to talk about the top 10 in porn movies and kind of go in more detail. And, you know, there's a lot of wrestlers doing porn these days, too. So
we've been hanging and banging, brother.
Maybe we'll include a wrestler section.
See, there's a podcast right there, Hurls. We'll go through the best wrestling sex tapes. Because there plenty have came out in the past 10 to 15 years. We'll do a podcast covering wrestling sex tapes. Big money right there, baby. Heads networking.
We've been hanging and banging, brother.
Plenty of material to go through, my friend. Lots and lots of footage that needs to be reviewed and talked about.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I'm just saying it's in the works, so
yeah,
you just wait.
There you go. Put my porn stars on there as well, too, and bada boom, we have ourselves a show.
Man, we could make that show big, man. I mean, we could actually have actual porn stars come on the show. You name it.
Yeah, like Dave's old porn. Dave used to look at all those old porn videos, have them on. What were they thinking about in the scene? Bada boom, there you go.
I don't know who Dave is. I don't know what you're talking about, Larkin, but it's a little creepy, so let's move along here.
Yeah. All right. So anyways, also I want to give a shout out to Andre Corbeil. He's one of our really good listeners. Does a lot of good things. He's a big supporter of the HeelCast, so give him a shout out. Check him out. But yeah, so let's go into the news here. It's kind of a slow news week, but there's a lot of stuff that we can speculate on. But first and foremost, we got a new backstage announcer. You've seen her on some one night onlys. You've seen her on some Twitch specials. Her name is Alicia Atout. Ambi Reviews. What do you guys? So I guess if Alicia Atout is working with Impact, where does that leave Mackenzie Mitchell?
Well, her tweet, as Mackenzie Mitchell put out, wherever you go, go with all your heart. Time for a new adventure. Next new home, Los Angeles.
That's not an official I'm gone, but it's pretty, take it for what it is. I would assume that's a cryptic message letting us know where she stands, but who knows? Maybe she's just moving out to L.A., and when they do film, they could fly her out. I don't know how that would work. Maybe they could bounce between Alicia and Mackenzie during tapings. You know, they don't have to just use one announcer. But if Mackenzie's gone, I'll say, you know what? She had a good run. Very, very beautiful, talented young lady. But Alicia is totally fucking trailblazing on the internet. This girl has just, from the ground up, DIY, built her own YouTube channel. She's taken the interview game to a whole nother level. She has made YouTube her bitch. She has her own fan base, and she's clearly very passionate. She's a wrestling fan at heart. So Impact, they're locking her in. Impact, great signing right there. Great get. Mackenzie, you know, you will be missed if you're gone, but it's Alicia's turn now. That's how it goes.
And what's great about her is she's got that. Great about her. She's got, like, she interviews a lot of musicians and wrestlers, so she's been doing her thing as far as Ambi goes. And I believe she's going to be doing the Rise tapings as well as a backstage correspondent. So the girl is pretty much all over the place.
Yeah, like, I was just going to add that Mackenzie did a really good job. She wasn't, I don't think, you know, nobody really saw how she would do as an interviewer. I know she had stuff at Ole Miss, but, you know, that was, I believe, sports teams. We didn't really know if she was a wrestling fan to begin with. But Alicia, huge wrestling fan. She's in the product. She knows the wrestlers. She gets, like you said, she gets different bands and music groups. She's going to be a great addition. I'm glad Impact picked her up because I think she's a hell of a talent. So, anyways, I guess really we got some one night onlys coming up. We got some Twitch specials coming up. I'm going to pass this one to Larkin. Larkin, you got all the details here. Why don't you let the folks have it?
Well, we'll start with the one night only first. So this is for the Zero Fear, which is going to air on the GWN this Friday. The matches on the card are as follows. Desmond Xavier versus Matt Sydal for the X Division title. The Desi Hit Squad are in action against the team of Desmond Quicksilver and Aiden Prince. Madison Rain goes one-on-one with Two Scoops herself, Casey Spinelli. The team known as the Fraternity take on Fala Ba and Stone Rockwell. Trevor Lee goes one-on-one with Eddie Edwards. Katarina goes one-on-one with Sue Young for the Knockouts Championship. Josh Alexander goes one-on-one with the Draw, Sami Callihan. Rich Swann goes one-on-one with Austin Aries for the Impact World title. And in a triple threat match, we have Eli Drake versus Moose versus Pentagon Jr.
Definitely looks like a good card. Kyle, will you be watching?
Now, is this live or is this a pre-taped one night only?
I'm not sure. I believe this is the one that aired on June 3rd, which I think was on Twitch or whatever, but they're showing it on the GWN this Friday.
Hey, cool. I'll check it out. I tried to keep up with the Twitch shows. Started to fall behind a bit, but, I've been getting a lot more passionate about the product lately, so I'll definitely be checking them out. Whatever they put out, I'll fucking consume it like a good sheep.
Love it. And then you got another card to announce as well, correct, Larkin?
Yeah, these are for the Rise of the Knockouts. This is the Twitch special that's coming in July, and two of them, these matches are actually going to be taking place at the Rise Ascent tapings as well. So, for the Rise of the Knockouts, we're going to see a Knockouts Championship match, Falls Count Anywhere to be exact. The Bloody Undead Bride Sue Young goes one-on-one with the Godmother of Rise, Saraya Knight, Paige's mother. We have Madison Rain going one-on-one with the Fallen Flower Kikyo. We have Tessa Blanchard going one-on-one with Born an American, Made in Japan's Chris Wolf. We have Deanna Purrazzo versus Kylie Ray. These are at the Rise Ascent tapings. We have Tessa Blanchard versus Madison Eagles, a tremendous international talent at the Rise Ascent tapings. And interviewer and backstage hostess Alicia Atout will also be in attendance at the tapings as well. So that's what's been announced so far for Rise.
So now, is this going to be the first time a WWE signed talent is appearing on an Impact event?
I think so, yeah.
Because I would imagine Deanna's got to finish up her bookings before she can go right to WWE.
Yeah, that's what they did with Tony Nese too. So yeah, so they did that with Tony Nese and a lot of them. And I think Danny Burch was another one, the UK talent. So yeah, Deanna will probably finish out her bookings and then she'll go to NXT.
Oh, very interesting. I think this wasn't really discussed in the pre-show that we were talking about, but I think it needs to be brought up. Eli Drake, we all know that he signed a 2-month extension about a month back. And
just continue, keep talking.
Oh, wow. Anyways, Eli Drake signed an extension for only 2 months. And the guy is not on the Slammiversary poster. So I think, very, 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 you know what that means. I mean, if a talent hasn't signed by now, I mean, unless it's a James Storm type surprise, which we don't really get that much. It looks like Eli Drake is going to the Stamford, Connecticut office. Gonna work in NXT. Guys, I hate to say it. I really hope we get a miracle, but it's definitely looking like Eli Drake is WWE bound. I even have to admit it now.
Yeah, they put out a Slammiversary flyer today, and he wasn't on it. A lot of the faces were photoshopped in there, but no Eli, no sign of the Drakester.
So, yeah, if that's the case, I can already see them probably going for an EC3 Eli Drake match in NXT. We shall see how that unfolds.
Yep. But you know what? Hold on. I don't want to move along yet because this needs to be said. And every fucking time somebody leaves Impact and goes to WWE, I'm usually the guy on the podcast that says this, but it needs to be said because I am already seeing things all over Twitter, all over the cesspool message boards. People are talking shit about Eli Drake. And he hasn't even left yet. This is still just all speculation and suspicion. We have no idea his current standings with Impact Wrestling. We don't know if he's gone yet. Nothing has been announced. But people are talking shit about him just the same way. I forget who. Somebody tweeted out, like, EC3, you're dead to me. Like, all right, let's be realistic about this. Now, I'm no different than any of you. I'm a diehard Impact Wrestling fan. Impact is the only wrestling show I watch every single week. They are the most creative. I don't care that the crowd is smaller compared to the WWE. Impact is my favorite show. That being said, WWE is the worldwide leader in sports entertainment, if you will. They are the fucking franchise. You want to be a star in the industry and, get to the top of the ladder, so to speak. The only place to do that is in WWE, and I know people are going to attack me in the comments for saying it, but it's just the God's honest truth. And, like, if you love Eli Drake, you love EC3, and you support these guys, not just for their Impact television characters, but as fucking performers, entertainers, and fucking human beings, bottom line, they have to make a living. They have to get paid. Guys are going to go off to WWE, and you know what? That revolving door, it's always going to be moving. You never know who's going to come back moving down the line, but just, if you love Eli Drake, you appreciate all the good entertainment he's given you an Impact for the past couple weeks, be happy for the guy. Let him go off to WWE. If it doesn't work out, he'll be back, but let him go get his WrestleMania moment. Let him go do the Royal Rumble, get an action figure. We're not getting those in Impact. Go be in a video game. Let him enjoy all the perks of being there, and maybe one day he'll come back to Impact. You never know. But if Eli's gone, it's going to be be upset about it. I'm going to miss him on Impact TV. But, hey, life goes on, right? It's just wrestling.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I have a little different take. I think.
Let's hear it.
I'm not going to be like any of those guys that say, he's dead to me or any of that. I just think it would be refreshing to see a guy be like, I'm going to try to build up this brand to be what it once was in 2007, 2008. I want this to be where we were at, really knocking on WWE's door. Yeah, we weren't competition, but I want to be a part of this rebuild and try to make it into something bigger. I just wish that we would get a little more of it. I know Eddie Edwards re-signed when there was reports that WWE was interested, but, I wish Eli nothing but the best. I think, if he is gone, he's been handling it the right way. He's been giving it his all. And that's all I really ask. Like Bobby Lashley did the same thing. And so, good luck to him. Hope it's what he wants and hope he's happy, because that's really all I can say.
And we don't know. So you got to end it with that. We don't know. We have, as of right now, not going to say when we are recording this because it will either look like schleps, or we might be a little late here. We're past the weekend mark. But, we don't know what his current standing is with Impact Wrestling, and maybe he'll stay. Don't know. We'll see. But I think we can all agree here, if they keep us in the dark and not say anything, and then he makes a big fucking appearance at Slammiversary where he wasn't advertised for the show, that motherfucker will shake the building.
Oh,
very true. Very true.
Definitely. So let's go with some speculation that's been kind of going in the Impact Wrestling rumor circle. So we all got the Jericho Cruise. And by the way, when is the Jericho Cruise?
I think it's got to be in like September-ish. I think it's in the fall.
Larkin, don't give me that. I know Larkin. You're the encyclopedia. You're the computer. What are the dates, Larkin?
I'm telling you, it's probably in the fall. I really don't know the dates on this one. I can tell you when Slammiversary is. But
I know sometimes, Larkin, you want to, pull it back a little and, make it seem like you're not always the encyclopedia, but I know you're always the encyclopedia. When the fuck is
October 27th to the 31st.
That's what we were looking for. Thank you, Larkin. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Larkin. And that's probably going to be like a couple weeks before Bound for Glory, I'm assuming, since Bound for Glory is in November now, or at least last year was. So the speculation been going on is that Impact and Ring of Honor are going to start working together. And it's you can definitely speculate because Kazarian wrote some stuff on Twitter basically saying, Impact Wrestling, how you been these last 4 years? It'll be good to catch up with you. So we know Impact Wrestling is going to be on the cruise. We know Sami Callihan's going to be there. He's already been messing with Jericho, already been messing with Bully Ray. What do you think, guys, of the potential of Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling working together?
They've done it before. I remember they used a lot of their talents back in the mid 2000s. I remember Christian Cage when he was the world champion there. He worked the Ring of Honor show. I was there for that. I believe it was him and Colt Cabana against Christopher Daniels and Bryan Danielson at the time. But so anything is possible. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see them work together again. Possibly, a lot of great tag matchups that can involve the Addiction. A lot of great singles matchups there. So it'd be a great dynamic.
Possibilities are endless. I can't see anybody trying to spin this into a negative. If you have it, I would like to hear it. I don't know how anybody could think of this as a bad thing. Stay away from Ring of Honor. No, this is good for professional wrestling all across the board. The only way anybody is going to, make any sort of real dent or any sort of real competition for the WWE working together, it's the only way you could do it, in my opinion. But you mentioned Ring of Honor, and it comes to mind today an announcement came out that Ring of Honor might have Madison Square Garden locked down for next year. And, hey, if there's a partnership with Impact, I would like to see some Impact talent on that show, If Ring of Honor really wants to sell out the Garden, I would put together a little World War show, ROH versus Impact versus Lucha Underground. I think you're going to sell a lot of tickets with that one.
Well, yeah, and also you have the fact that, Kyle, you and I have been there when they were at the Westbury Long Island shows, so it would be nice to see, them get on that MSG kind of feel.
No doubt.
Yeah, I think, if Impact teams up with Ring of Honor, who has a partnership with New Japan, where Impact has partnerships with AAA and Noah, you basically got the whole wrestling scene as one besides WWE. And if you're going to have a show at the Garden, why not call this the Super Bowl of wrestling? Okay, we all know, WWE's got WrestleMania. Why not have this giant event, New Japan versus Impact versus Ring of Honor versus AAA versus Lucha Underground versus Noah? Why not have all these companies in one building? I guarantee you this event, it may not sell out, but it's going to be at least 15,000 people. I guarantee it. I think that the wrestling fans would eat this up. And if you advertise it as such, like this big one giant event, basically everything that's not WWE, I think this could be potentially huge. As far as Impact and Ring of Honor goes, I don't really have a beef with it per se. I'm not a huge Ring of Honor fan. And I get why Impact pulled the plug on their relationship years ago.
Oh, yeah, the Rob Feinstein, accused of being a pedophile at the time.
Man.
No, there's no, we can say that. It was a news story at the time. Not saying that he was ever guilty, because he wasn't. He was never charged with anything. But if the listeners are unfamiliar, school you to the game a little bit, some history. Years ago, Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling, TNA at the time, were definitely partners and worked together a lot. There was a lot of talent exchange going on, and TNA pulled the plug at the time because I don't know what you would call him, Booker, chairman. I don't know what exactly Rob's official title was, but I'm pretty positive he was one of the co-owners of Ring of Honor at the time. I know he's a founding member. He got accused of diddling kids. He got accused of talking, sexually to an underage girl online, and he was actually on, if you're familiar with Dateline to Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen, he was on an episode of the show. Now, for legal reasons, it's very important to note that he was never charged with anything. He was never proven guilty of anything, but there certainly were accusations, and he definitely was on Dateline to Catch a Predator. So TNA doing the right thing. They pulled the plug and cut ties with Ring of Honor. However, so did Rob Feinstein. He immediately left Ring of Honor. He has nothing to do with Ring of Honor. And since then, Impact and Ring of Honor have never rebuilt that bridge. And it's so long overdue. I feel like if Ring of Honor and Impact joined forces, even like 7-8 years ago, Impact would be a lot further ahead right now. They would be in a much better position, I think.
Yeah, and I think the fan bases have. I mean, I don't know. I know it's like if you mention like TNA at a Ring of Honor show back, even a couple of years ago.
Oh, no, Hurls, let me tell you. I'm not cutting you off. I'll let you go right back to it. But
sure.
Not last year, I'd say the year before that. And the year before that, I went to Ring of Honor, Field of Honor out here in New York. And I happened to wear an Impact shirt both years. And it's kind of like my own thing. I mean, yeah, I'm a diehard Impact fan. So when I go to a wrestling show, I wear one of my Impact shirts. But it's kind of turned into like an experiment where like I wear the shirt and I see how many nasty comments I can get. And when I wore my shirts to the Field of Honor, Ring of Honor shows, I'm telling you, middle fingers, insults every time I walk my sweet ass up to that concession stand. Middle fingers, insults, and we need to change that, people. We need to, there's got to be unity amongst the wrestling fans and the super elite nerds, because let's face it, we're all nerds here, but the high-ranking basement dwellers that they write off Impact and want nothing to do with it. It's time to open your minds, people. Impact's here. They're kicking down the door in 2018, and they aren't going anywhere, so you better start watching the show.
Yeah, and it was kind of around that time when Impact pulled away from being in a partnership with Ring of Honor that you kind of started getting the vial between the two fan bases, where I think Impact's fan base was more of the WCW older crowd, and I would say the Ring of Honor crowd was more of the smart, maybe younger crowd, so to speak. Would you guys say that's fairly accurate?
Yes, very true.
Okay.
Well, you have really, it's like wrestling purist, and then you have people like us that enjoy more of and I know people think it's a dirty word, but take it for what it is, more of a sports entertainment product. And what I mean by that is we love backstage segments, we love vignettes, we love, those type of storylines where things play out, in the backstage vignettes and the promos, and not every single story is told in the ring, while with the ROH fans, they love more of that everything in the ring, everything pure athleticism, pure sport, So I get the difference, but wrestling is like ice cream, man. There's different flavors. The market is so big, there's something for everybody out there, but we all need to just start getting along.
Oh yeah. I mean, and TNA had a lot of good action, but I mean, around 2006 when they hired Russo, you got a lot of those crazy segments. I mean, you got the Shark Boy segment, you got the Super Eric segment. You had a lot of crazy stuff from Impact. So, the fan bases were totally different. TNA took off on Spike TV, and Ring of Honor was kind of like, as Raven would say, WWE's bitch. But no, I'm not going to go there. they were more of the underground, kind of the anti-entertain, sports entertainment type thing. And TNA was different than WWE. I mean, there's no question they were totally different. I think TNA was going for more edgier stuff, but I think where you had a lot of the animosity between the two is you had wrestlers like CM Punk. He came out and talked, a lot of stuff about TNA. I think even Bryan Danielson said that he would never go to TNA around that time. And these were Ring of Honor wrestlers, so a lot of the Ring of Honor fans, they kind of gravitated toward their message. And I just think that the two fan bases were never really got along per se. So this is a long time coming between these two companies to finally start working together. And let's not forget, I mean, New Japan, they're there too, and there's a possibility for that to open back up because TNA definitely had a longer relationship with them compared to Ring of Honor. So that's really all I got. You guys have anything to add about that?
You know what, Hurls, real quick, I'm just going to ask you this question, and Larkin, you answer too. Okay. Just something that popped into my head since we're on the topic, since we're sparking the discussion here. I'm thinking last year, actually almost 2 years ago now, when the Hardys left Impact at the height of the Broken stuff. Let's say, hypothetically, everything worked out with Anthem and the Hardys didn't leave and they stayed with Impact and they followed through with the Books of Youth, what they were talking about doing some sort of, I don't know how it would have turned out. I know they still wrestled in Ring of Honor, but they clearly would have did something way better in Impact with the Broken Universe, and just this creative that would have played out with it would have been fucking awesome. But what I'm trying to ask you is, if the Hardys stayed in Impact and didn't leave, and they did end up working with the Young Bucks, and it created a partnership between Ring of Honor and Impact, then 2 years ago, where do you think Impact would be right now? And would ROH fans have stuck around and still be watching Impact right now?
Whew, that's a tough one, but I'm going to probably say yes, because that was so hot and the whole gimmick was so hot. And I think a lot of the ROH guys and fans would stick around for that. To be honest with you, yes, I absolutely think that they would.
Yeah, I think that, that was kind of something we were kind of robbed of, because they were definitely building towards that. And I know they wrestled in Ring of Honor before the Hardys went back to WWE, but they even said they were supposed to have one match in Impact. And we were kind of robbed of it. I think if that relationship stayed the same, which if you kind of know Jeff Jarrett's business, I don't know if it would have. But let's just say Jeff Jarrett was kind of out of the picture, and if it was Don Callis, I think it definitely would have happened. It's too bad. We'll never get to see that. But, it is what it is. It'll be another great discussion in 5 years when you say what went wrong, But, anyways, so we had an Impact this week. I thought it was kind of a filler show. There was some good stuff. There were some good matches, but for the most part, it seemed a lot of video packages. But we started off with a match. It was Z&E defending their titles against Drago and Aerostar. Z&E picked up the win. Me personally, I thought this match was really good. A lot of fast-paced action. If you notice, this was the match where Aerostar got pretty banged up from the 630 that Everett gave him. Kid Ref did the X sign. So hopefully, I believe Aerostar was okay. I guess he just got the wind knocked out of him. But what'd you guys think of this match? I thought it was pretty good. A lot of high-flying stuff.
I thought all four men work well together. I think Drago and Aerostar are tremendous athletes. What they do in Lucha Underground, they've teamed before them, Aerostar and Phoenix, and Z&E make a great combo. I enjoyed the match.
I mean, come on now. You're getting some of the best high-flying wrestlers in the world in one ring there. So right on paper, you knew damn well this is going to be one of those great cruiserweight matches to open up the show. Awesome stuff. I love Z&E together. getting some opportunity. Two guys that have really fallen behind over and over, whether that was politics or lack of creative, who knows, but they've taken these two guys, classic wrestling playbook move. You got two guys aren't doing anything, look good together, they're similar, they can play off of each other, throw them together in a tag team, and that's what you get with Z and E. I'm happy for them. Think hopefully they stay together for a long time, and it could be a big dominant tag team for Impact and moving forward. And Aerostar and Drago, two of the best international talents. I love the partnership with Lucha / AAA, and this is just another example of it. So, great match, great way to open the show. This sort of stuff takes me back to good old WCW Nitro cruiserweight bangers. At what was it, 9 o'clock? They would open up with that.
Yes,
absolutely.
Oh yeah. That's what I say a lot about Impact is they definitely got that WCW formula down with the cruiserweights / X division. Like I think WWE was trying to capitalize on that, but they could just never really do it. Whereas I think Impact has definitely found that niche, so to speak. And it definitely shows more since they brought in the Lucha Underground wrestlers. You definitely get that Lucha Libre style into your matches. And I just want to quickly point out two things. I love the flip exchange with Aerostar and Andrew Everett. I thought that was really cool. And props to the Impact Zone VIP section for really going hard at DJ Z's new music. Got to give them props. They did a good job there. So, Chef, make sure you congratulate them next time you see them. So, anyways, we had two backstage segments. We had P.D. Williams and Sanjay Dutt arguing. Sanjay Dutt kind of it seemed like he was accusing P.D. Williams of being the attacker. Is that what you guys kind of picked up on?
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got some communication breakdown between Sanjay Dutt and P.D. Williams. So not too much there. Then P.D. Williams basically says he's leaving, he's going home, whatever that meant. And then we had a return of Diamante. She came to the clubhouse and she seemed kind of didn't really trust Kingston. Would you guys take of that segment?
Really? I thought it was great, man. I think I'm a big fan of Diamante. I think she's a tremendous athlete. I like to see her wrestle more on the show. And I think just the whole, her, Santana, Ortiz, Eddie Kingston, that whole thing just meshed well. I thought it was a great segment.
Diamante, we hardly know ya. Not knew ye. We hardly know ya. My issue with her is I feel like she's always injured. There's always it may not be her fault, bad luck. It seems like they can never consistently keep her as part of the show and book her. But she's back apparently, and she's suspicious of Kingston. Man, this guy Eddie Kingston, can't trust the guy. That's what I'm getting from it. He's just got that real suspicious, shit-eating grin on his face when he takes that cigar and puts it into his mouth. And shout out to our pal Robert Does Wrestling. He also does your wife. He put up his YouTube thumbnail this week. He photoshopped himself in there right next to Eddie with the cigar in the mouth. It's pretty funny. But so Diamante, she's suspicious of Kingston. She, she's not outright accusing him, but she's smelling something. She's smelling something. We'll see where this goes. It could be a fake out, and or she could be right. We'll see.
Definitely. So then the next match we had LAX versus Cult of Lee. Little history on these two. Cult of Lee's been kind of getting the upper hand in these matches as of late. But this match was a little different with Kingston being out there. LAX finally back on the winning streak. Good match. I thought good storytelling from the two. Is that what you guys thought as well?
Oh, yeah. I thought everybody worked hard, and I thought it came off well.
I'm going to quote Trent Zuberi on the Heads Network Impact Review last week. I've never seen LAX have a bad match. Never.
Well, it's true. Well, I think any incarnation, whether it be Homicide and Hernandez or Santana and Ortiz, LAX doesn't have a bad match. They really don't.
No, they're always giving it their all, and they may have gotten outshined in some matches, a la Lucha versus Impact, but they have never had a bad match per se. So these guys
when you think about
definitely
it,
hot.
Impact's roster right now, they don't have anybody who sucks. There's nobody on the roster I could think of that's like, he's awful. What is he there for? I know some people will look at like the Richard Justices, that section of the roster, but it's like, personally, I'm a fan of guys for comedy segments. I'm a fan of Richard Justice, big fan of Grado. I know some people throw criticism their way, but me personally, I love variety in the roster. I think right now, Impact going through their lineup, their roster, you don't have anybody who's a waste of space right now.
Yeah, let's not forget Richard Justice do some big things right now. He's entering strongman competitions. He's doing work there. So
love that
guys
dick.
No laughing
love
matter.
That dick.
Larkin, you got anything to add to that?
Really? No, man. I enjoyed that. I thought the whole thing was great.
Awesome. All right, so then we had the return of Eli Drake's Fact of Life, and if you noticed, he slammed that button down so hard that it actually busted. So I don't know if this is the last Fact of Life that they're ever going to have because the button's busted. But anyways, we had Eli Drake. He featured his top five list of the biggest dummies in Impact. He named the fans.
Dummy,
he named Impact Management. He named Austin Aries. And then he named the fans again. And then coming in at one was no other than Moose. This was a calculated plan by Eli Drake. Next week, he's going to face Moose in a match that will determine the number one contender for the world title. So basically, Moose came out there, tried to defend himself, but Eli Drake kind of did a little cheap shot, and he attacked Moose. And, that was pretty much it, setting up their match for next week. What'd you guys think of this week's Fact of Life?
See, I got that feeling. Harold, I got that feeling, too, that is there any symbolism to that button finally breaking? We haven't seen Fact of Life in a long time, and all these rumors flying that this is the exit of Eli Drake. Did they bring out Fact of Life as like a last hurrah? Like a farewell Fact of Life. I hope that isn't the case, but I kind of got that vibe. And maybe the button broke by accident, but there could have been some symbolism to that button breaking.
Well, yeah, I want to bring that up real quick because we saw that with EC3 as well, bringing Tyrus back. Now, I know Tyrus was supposed to be booked longer, but, they brought Tyrus back. It's kind of a tribute to EC3's departure now.
Tribute to a great run. That's what I get out of both examples, the tribute to a great run.
Right. Like, and why would they bring, the Fact of Life back out of nowhere? It just kind of seems like... I don't know. This could have been, just kind of a remembrance of what made Eli Drake, great in the first place. And I don't know. The button busted. That's all we know. Whether it was planned or not, I think it might have been planned, and I think it could have been just a symbolism of the last act of life. Larkin.
I agree on that with the button busting and all that. Speaking of bust, I busted a gut. I thought it was hilarious putting the fans on there twice. Impact Management, friggin' just Moose. I thought the whole exchange was great. I like the fact that he laid him out with the gravy train, dropped the podium on him, and it's a great setup for next week's matchup.
Yeah, should be good. So then next match we had. Part of the, I guess it was called the Brian Cage World Tour. It was Rahit Raju versus Brian Cage. And, Raju, he kind of got some offense in, but ultimately Brian Cage ended up winning pretty easily in this match. So, not much to really say here. Brian Cage has kind of got the Goldberg streak going on a little bit. So what do you guys think?
So what it needed to be was a squash, just Weapon X, man, 1, 2, 3. That's pretty much what they've been doing with Heat Raju right now. He just keeps, coming out in the losing end. But once we see that Desi Hit Squad come out, let's see what happens on that front. And it's what it needed to be, building up Brian Cage towards his matchup with Matt Sydal for the X Division Championship. So all around, great setup.
Well, it's a bit of an ongoing thing here. Every week when Brian Cage comes out, somebody's going to do the honors. Somebody's going to get squashed, and trouble. Those numbers don't lie, and they spell trouble for Rahit Raju at Sacrifice. I could definitely say that. Poor guy, man. You got Brian Cage, height of his game, freak athlete. One thing about Brian Cage that I keep reading, a lot of people don't like that he does a little high flying, and to me, it's like, it makes him even more of a beast. He stands out even more. It separates him from guys like you just mentioned, Goldberg. It's a different type of monster. Than like I said on another podcast. You see this guy doing flips to the outside. He's doing hurricanranas. Like, you're gonna have to go get a shotgun to put this guy down.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt. Brian Cage is going through the competition every week very easily. Next week he's got Matt Sydal. So we'll see what happens. Then we had another two segments. We had an interview with Austin Aries. He said he was on vacation. He was sipping down looked like some type of fruit drink. Just basically said, doesn't matter, Josh, how you win. Just matters that I'm the world champ, and nobody in the record books will know how I won the match. So, pretty straightforward segment. And then we also had Tessa Blanchard being interviewed, and Kiera Hogan interrupted her. And basically, Tessa Blanchard just took her out in the back, and next week we're going to get a match. It's going to be a no disqualification. It's going to be Kiera Hogan versus Tessa Blanchard. Thoughts on that?
It was what it needed to be. Kiera just running off the mouth, pretty much making fun of Tessa for talking all this stuff, and then she gets beat by Madison Rayne. Tessa not taking too kindly to that, and we had a nice little brawl back and forth, but in the end it was Tessa showing her dominance. And I think next week we're going to have a hell of a brawl in our hands.
Definitely, and talk about Tessa all you want. This little segment, if you will, it marked the turning point for Kiera Hogan in my eyes. I think we're going to see a different Kiera Hogan moving forward, and this was the first sign of a personality change, so to speak.
And let's not forget, Kiera Hogan was doing basically what we're doing 10 years ago, and now she's an Impact wrestler. So I think that's pretty cool in itself. And I also think that Kiera Hogan's definitely showed me a lot. I didn't have that high of expectations for her because I never really saw her independent work, but she has done a heck of a job just earning her spot there and making a name for herself, especially when she didn't have a lot of expectations. Not like someone like Tessa Blanchard would have. So very cool. So then we're going to go to our main event / main segment. It was the Eddie Edwards versus Sami Callihan in an unsanctioned match in the woods. I'm gonna have you guys go first on this. What did you guys think?
It was nuts. Just seeing, it was great to see Eddie being Psycho Eddie, the whole Sammy, he's calling him. One, Chris is in the tree, one is, I think, in the back of the car, and it's just like, yeah, it's a great dynamic. Then Alicia comes in, and Tommy Dreamer trying to stop him. Eddie hits Tommy. Sammy escapes. it's pretty much, it's a man, who's just wants to get his hands on Sami Callihan, but even though he already won, the obsession is to just take him out fully. He even said, I don't care if I murder him out there. I just want you to document this. So you could tell the realism, and it's cool. It was what it needed to be. It was executed the way it needed to be, and it just furthers the storyline going forward with all parties involved.
Dude, fucking insane, man. I mean, you got me at my house smoking a ton of weed. So, bro, what are we watching right now, man? What's Eddie doing in the woods, man? It's not the usual wrestling show shtick. It's something different. That's what I love about Impact. They're always trying new stuff. They're not afraid to put their asses on the line and go in different unexplored territories. A brawl in the woods with Sami Callihan, like, Jesus Christ. Now, it's not the Broken Hardy stuff. You can tell it was different, produced a little differently. It's not filled with a bunch of inside jokes. And it still was kind of sarcastic. I mean, that clip with Eddie with the tongue out of his mouth, like, it was some pretty sounds like a cheesy B film, like a horror movie, but still, it still maintains it's not a joke. It's still serious. But yeah, this segment is a little sarcastic. I don't know. I got a few different vibes from it, but it was very compelling television. Say that, but. You gotta love the Sami and Eddie storyline because it's different. It's just something that we haven't seen in wrestling in so long. It's almost like there's no point in Sami beating Eddie. Like, that's not the purpose. It's like Eddie keeps beating Sami, but all it's doing is just digging Eddie into this hole deeper and deeper of these. First, he was slightly traumatized, and as things went along, now he's a fucking psychopath. He's a maniac, and it's like he's turning into Sami Callihan. Pay attention. He is turning into Sami Callihan, and it's like Chef. Shout out to our boy Chef. He brought something up on the Heads Network review last week. I never even thought of this. How is this going to end? It's not going to be a total one killer match where Eddie kills Sami or Sami kills Eddie. I think that, well, I got to give Chef credit because he's the one that brought it up first, that Eddie and Sami are going to end up being a tag team at the end of this because Eddie is turning into Sami. Like, this is an actually good wrestling storyline. Usually it's regurgitated, same formulas, just tweaked around with different characters in the same positions. But this is some good shit.
Yeah, and like you said, like, first thing I thought it was going to be like, okay, is this going to be another Hardy Boys thing? Broken stuff. But it was definitely different than that. You could say there was a little similarity between it. And your question, was it serious? Was it not serious? I think it was a little bit of both because, OVD or OVE, they kind of got beat down pretty handily, I would say, which was surprising. You'd think that OVE would attack them as a unit, not separately, but I love the fact what it's doing to Eddie Edwards. It's totally just Eddie is you're right. He's becoming Sami. But at the same time, he's just destroying Sami week after week after week. And that is the part where I kind of like, okay, I don't know about it because Sami is doing such great work. Like, I feel like they got to keep his edge. And I feel like if he just keeps getting beat down week after week, he's kind of losing some of that edge. And I know he's kind of doing some other things with the, Chris Jericho and Bully Ray.
I was about to say, whatever happens on the Jericho cruise is probably going to refresh in your mind that edge.
Right, exactly. But I just wonder how far is Eddie going to go with this? And how far is Sami Callihan just going to keep getting his ass kicked, and OVE for that matter as a whole? I don't know. Like, they're going, 100% with Eddie, but Sami's kind of losing his edge to him a little bit. So that's the only part where I worry that it could kind of hurt Sami. But I'm loving the fact that Eddie is finally getting a character besides just being the guy in the Wolves. So this feud's got so many different layers and so many different dynamics to it. And I talked about this last week, how it's just crazy that this thing started from a botched baseball spot, and it's just turned into one of the best wrestling storylines of the year. So in that regard, I'm just going to appreciate it. I just hope it doesn't do long-term damage to Sami, and I hope it won't. But, great segment. Great finish to Impact. Leaves you with a cliffhanger. Tommy Dreamer getting hit by Eddie. That's going to start something there. Alicia probably going to divorce Eddie pretty soon if he doesn't stop. Or he's going to have to go to months of counseling or something. But anyways, Impact this week I thought was a little too promo heavy. There was some good matches with the tag team, but I love the ending. That was really good. But I just found myself just watching kind of too many video packages. So this week I'm going to give it about a 6.5 out of 10. What'd you guys think?
I'll give it a solid 7.
You know what, Hurls? You're opening up the can of worms for me to go on another tangent here. But you mentioned the video packages. I just want to share my opinion. Me personally, I guess we have different tastes when it comes to a wrestling show. I like this format because, well, the production team is so flawless. They put together these movies. They're these mini movies. Just the grittiness to it. It's really good stuff. But I like video packages, and when they put them throughout the show like this, it's very good for first-time viewers. First-time Impact viewers can tune into the show, and those packages are really just putting you up to date, so you're not just turning it on and you're not completely out of context. And B, they're trying to tape less, so if you can do 2 less days of tapings in one stretch by using more video packages, I'm game. I'm with it.
Do you guys like the GW?
My rating, though, I'm going to give it I'm going to give this show an 8. I'm going to give it an 8.
Well, fair enough. You got the highest score between us three. Do you guys like the GWN flashback stuff?
Doesn't really bother me. I think it's fine. Incorporates more of the GWN and gets it a little buzz on the show. Really doesn't bother me or impact me in any way.
I love it. Just don't let them run for too long. A few weeks in a row, very recently they had like the Dudleys versus the Steiners, and it was like it felt like they aired the whole match. I don't know if they really did, but I think run them as little flashback commercial things to advertise for GWN. Don't play full or even half of a match. Just a quick commercial. That's all it needs to be. Some people like it, but I wouldn't put too much time into a flashback. Just a bunch of quick little ones throughout the show to show you some of the big names that have been in the company if you're a new viewer. And it'll make you want to go buy that GWN app and, start feasting on Impact. There's that Mr. 12K again. What's up? What's your big dog? What's your big dog? What's your dog's name, bro?
Lily.
Oh, Lily.
Female.
Nice.
Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Pain in the ass.
That sounds like a little bastard dog.
Yeah. Well, she's got 2 modes. Quiet mode and won't leave me alone if I'm not paying attention to her mode. So, like most women, right?
Yeah, she watches Impact, too.
Yeah. She does. I agree with you. I think sometimes they can run a little too long, and I like it sometimes, and other times it's like in a video package heavy episode, it's like I don't know if it's necessarily needed to show that much of it, but I see. I love the stuff like Eddie and Sammy type stuff. I love that. It's just the video packages. It just seems like, to me, it just seems like more filler because they don't have more segments in the back, or they don't have enough matches. But I mean, I can live with it because Impact, it seems like they do a variety with their episodes. You just, every week is kind of different in how they format the show. So, I mean, I'm not going to complain too much, but that's just kind of my 2 cents on the whole ordeal. But, well, that was Impact this week, and looks like next week we already got a lot of matches already booked for it, so it should be good. But, yeah, that's really all I got for this week. You guys got any final comments?
Just tune in next week, and thank you all for listening.
Make sure you follow Heads Network on Twitter.
And I just want to add, like I said last week, if you guys like video games and you want to listen to some reviews, check out the Retro Review Crew. We review a bunch of different video games. We only got one episode up right now, but we got plenty more coming, and a lot of cool games we're going to be talking about soon. So check that out. But anyways, that's it for this week on the HeelCast. For Kyle, for Larkin, for yours truly, Hurls, we shall see you next week.
We've been hanging and banging, brother.